You're listening to The Signal Report, weekly AI music news for Suno creators and indie artists. Every week, we cover the stories shaping the AI music landscape, from platform policy and copyright battles to tools, trends, and what it all means for independent artists building careers right now. Let's get into this week's news. The Munich Regional Court ruled this week that Suno broke both German and US copyright law by training its models on songs from GEMA's catalog, the German performance rights organization, and then reproducing elements of them. The case centered on 6 specific tracks, including Rasputin and Forever Young. The ruling orders Suno to disclose revenue tied to the infringing use, with damages still to be determined by the court. Significantly, this marks the first binding European court decision on whether unlicensed AI music training constitutes copyright infringement. Suno has said it disagrees with the ruling and is evaluating an appeal.
New signal. Incoming.
A coalition including Universal, Sony, Warner, Believe, BMG, Concord, Hybe, and several other independent labels proposed shared eligibility criteria this week for how AI-assisted recordings can appear on official music charts. The proposed standard requires that any AI tools used in a recording be properly licensed and that the release remain substantially human-made to qualify for chart eligibility. IFPI adopted the framework the very next day across the charts it directly runs, including its MENA, Southeast Asia, South Africa, and Latin American charts. IFPI also said it's working with national bodies, including Australia's ARIA, France's SNEP, and South Korea's Circle chart, to extend the framework to more than 20 additional chart programs.
New signal. Incoming.
A new analysis from AI editing platform Capwing estimates that the 10 highest earning AI music acts have collectively pulled in around $6.1 million, based on more than 2.3 billion combined Spotify streams and YouTube views. Leading names in the analysis include the 1950s style vocalist Enley Blue, Nightcore and EDM creator Cherry Nightcore, and synth rock project Masters of Prophecy. It's worth noting that the underlying artist rankings draw partly on a lesser-known third-party database, so the top-line $6.1 million figure is best understood as a rough industry estimate rather than an audited number.
New signal. Incoming.
With Spotify still not tagging AI-generated tracks directly on its platform, third-party sites like soullessmusic.com and sloptracker.org have stepped in, letting users check whether a given artist or track is likely AI-made. One case in point involves R&B act Slime Dot, who has more than 100,000 monthly Spotify listeners. The artist denied being an AI creation in a magazine interview, even as third-party detection tools flagged the music as machine-generated. Spotify's current position is that it's relying on artist-submitted AI disclosures and profile verification tools rather than platform-wide labeling, at least for the time being.
New signal. Incoming.
Following confirmation that a security incident from November 2025 exposed personal data tied to 55.3 million Suno accounts, 2 separate class action lawsuits were filed against the company this week in Massachusetts federal court. Both suits accuse Suno of inadequate data security practices and of failing to notify affected users for roughly 9 months, until the breach became public through outside reporting. Suno has said that the incident was quickly contained and that the company does not store full payment card details.
New signal. Incoming.
The American Federation of Musicians filed an amended complaint this week against Universal Music Group and Warner Music Group, accusing both major labels of breaching union contract terms by licensing members' recordings to AI companies Suno and Udio without compensation or credit. The amended filing specifically names Warner Records and Atlantic Recording as defendants alongside UMG. Both majors are now cleared to move to dismiss the case, with opening briefs due in mid-August. This case adds to a growing list of disputes over how AI licensing revenue gets shared with musicians behind the underlying recordings.
New signal. Incoming.
A new Luminate intelligence report on audience attitudes found that American consumers are broadly skeptical about engaging with AI-generated music, film, and TV content. Though reactions were mixed, and some respondents said they were unsure whether AI had even been involved in what they were consuming. These findings add a consumer sentiment counterpoint to Luminate's earlier mid-year data, which showed rising AI adoption among musicians themselves. Taken together, the two reports point to a gap between how comfortable creators are using AI tools and how comfortable audiences currently are with the results.
New signal. Incoming.
Deezer reported this week that fully AI-generated tracks hit a peak of roughly 90,000 uploads per day in June, over half of all new music delivered to the platform. That's up from 44% in April and just 18% in early 2025. Despite the flood of uploads, Deezer says fully AI-generated tracks still account for only 1 to 3% of actual listening on the platform, with a large share of AI streams flagged as fraudulent. Going forward, Deezer says it will begin removing AI tracks that are tied to streaming fraud or that go unstreamed for 6 months or more.
New signal. Incoming.
Nashville songwriters built a demo for country artist Joel Nichols' new single, C'est la vie, partly by running a hummed melody through Suno. Nichols then rebuilt and re-recorded the track more traditionally, using his own band and a human horn section for the final release. In a separate interview, Nichols pushed back on artists who claim to avoid AI entirely, saying that many of them are, in his words, lying through their teeth. He drew his own line at using tools like Suno to test and sketch ideas, rather than to write or perform for him directly. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Signal Report. If any of these stories hit close to home, be sure to share the episode with a fellow creator. The more indie artists stay informed, the better we all navigate what's coming. New episode drops every week. Find SynRize on all streaming platforms, and be sure to get your AI music and creator updates during the week directly at synrizemusic.com, link in the video description below. We'll see you next week on the Signal Report.